Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Drizzle, and I'm so excited to take you on an adventure today with defined learning. I have some helpers online with me, Heather and Paige, and they're going to be helping to answer questions in the chat window. For right now, though, I just want to see if I'm going to let you chat for just a moment, okay? So I'm going to ask you to drop in the chat window the name of your state where you're coming from today. And then we're going to ask my friend Heather to tell us where you're coming from. So in the chat window, just type in the abbreviation or the full name of your state and take it away, Heather.
They're already going. Pennsylvania, Illinois, Florida. Where else? Texas. More Illinois. There are a lot from Illinois today. Illinois is definitely the winner right now. New Jersey. More and more Illinois.
Wow. Well, it seems like we have a good amount of people here. We'll keep calling those out a little bit later, but again, welcome. I hope you're ready for some great learning today. Before we start, though, I want to talk to you about the Sustainable Development Goals, or the global goals, as I like to call them. There are 17 of these goals that we should all be thinking about so we can help make a difference in the world. Goals like stopping hunger and poverty, making sure everyone gets a good education, finding ways to make clean water available for everyone, taking care of animals, and helping people get along are just a few of them. And as you can see, these are great goals for us to have. All of these goals give you an opportunity to become an entrepreneur. That's a big word. So what is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is an individual or person who takes the risk to start their own business based on an idea that they have. And today, we're going to give you an idea and see if you can solve it. The other goal we'll look at today is goal 12, which is about not wasting things. And that's going to help us a lot in our task. So first of all, make time today to thank your teacher for signing you up for this. We sent out some information to them a few weeks ago, and we asked them, would you guys be interested in creating a backpack for the national parks? And they said yes. And I just happen to love national parks, so I'm so excited that we're going to do this together. Our goal today, and we'll talk about this a couple times, is you're going to create your own unique backpack that someone could take when they visit a national park. And you're going to create it from the idea station all the way through actually building one. You're going to be a backpack designer that works for a company that produces backpacks. And your audience is going to be the people that are exploring the national park. So let's come to me for just a moment. I want to show you a couple things as we get started, and we want to think about this. First, this nifty little package is something I picked up at Yosemite National Park just a few weeks ago. So it has a handle, it has a zipper, and when I pull it open, and this is the first time I've pulled it open since I bought it, so I'm so excited, it starts to expand, and it actually, yes, it does, it turns into a backpack, which I think is such a smart idea, because if I need to carry things, but I'm not sure what I'll need to carry yet, this is a great thing to take with me. Now, when we're building our backpack today, I want you to think about a couple things. One, there are bugs out there that bug us like mosquitoes. So you may have to make a place for mosquito repellent to go. You may need to include a spot for a flashlight, or if you're really smart, maybe you can build a flashlight into your design. And we don't want to forget water. Most of the national parks, once you start hiking, are not going to have water stations for you. So you have to take water with you. Well, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves because we haven't started creating yet. So let's move and start creating. All right, so let's go to the deck and we're going to start learning about the backpack. So back in the 1930s is when the backpack, or the 1900s was when a backpack started to be thought about. And what they did back then is they just took their books and wrapped them up with a belt. And that's how they carried them around, which I think is pretty smart. You've probably never done this yourself, but I bet if you ask your parents if their parents did it, you might have some people. In 1938, someone came up with the idea of zippers, and they created the first rucksack. In 1967, someone decided that nylon was the best fabric to use because it was waterproof and you could take it on very long trips. In 1969, they started designing backpacks for school also because they realized people were carrying books in their arms and they needed a place to carry them. So most backpack companies started making them for books. In 1975, they started measuring things and thinking, you know what, if we're going to give them a backpack for their books, we need to make sure that there's a square shape inside the backpack to hold their books. Well, all of this was happening on the West Coast, over where Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and North Carolina, Florida, or excuse me, opposite side, California, Oregon, Washington. But the East Coast decided they wanted backpacks too, so they started creating them on this side. And in 1989, LL Bean decided, all right, I'm making this book bag for every person in the world that wants to carry all their stuff. Since then, we've changed a lot. We've put iPad chargers on there. We've put wheels on there. We've turned the pockets clear. So what does the future look like for backpacks? We need you guys to create backpacks and make a lot of money. Just raise your hand right now if you're interested in making money. Anybody want to make some good money with a job? Well, you're going to be asked to create the next best thing. These are all types of backpack brands that are out there, and your name could be on this list very soon. In fact, this guy right here, all he does is he chooses the materials for a backpack. And I heard that he makes about $120,000 a year. And all he does is decides on the material, the colors, the thread, the zippers. I tell you what, I would like that job. Well, let's watch a quick video and you're going to see me in Denali National Park. And you're going to find out that I need a lot of book bags and backpacks in my line of work. And let's see how you can help me share those. Today, we're in Alaska. In fact, Denali is right behind us. And we've had to use several different packs on our journey. For my daily traveling, I use this modified backpack called a fanny pack. And inside here, I have my glasses and my phone. This backpack is what I use on a daily basis, especially going into schools and on planes. I have my computer and all my cords. Now, as we're traveling around and hiking, we're going to be able to use this type of backpack, which expands and is able to hold clothes, food, and even sleeping bags. As we travel on planes with camera equipment, we're going to be able to use this type of bag, which has lots of pockets and also has a lot of padding to make sure the lens and cameras don't get broke. Here is your design challenge. You are a backpack designer working for a backpack company. Your goal is to design a new, unique backpack that will stand out in a crowd. The backpack company you work for will be anxious to see your new design so they can start the manufacturing. Your audience is the marketing team of the company. Make sure you decide what your target audience will be. For example, Will your backpack be designed for middle school children or high school age children? Whether it is for adults, children, students, campers, or athletes, you will need to think carefully about a few things for your target audience. You will start by drawing a sketch of your design. Then you will create a prototype that you can present to the company. So here's your question. Why aren't all backpacks designed the same? What special features will your backpack have that your target audience will find useful? What will your backpack be made of so it will work for the user in a particular environment? What do you want your backpack to look like so the audience will find it attractive? All right, so tell me by raising your hand if you've ever visited a national park before. That's wonderful. Did you know that there are 423 national park sites around the country? So that means there's a lot of opportunity for you to create a backpack that someone may use. As you begin to work on this backpack, think about the specific park that you want to work at or that you want to create a backpack for. For example, if you go to the Dry Tortugas in Florida, you'll have to think about making that backpack light enough to carry on the boat, and you want to make sure that you include a place for sunscreen and water bottles. But if you choose Glacier National Park in Montana, you will have to figure out how to make pockets where you can put bear spray, chapstick, extra snacks. And I'm going to tell you something kind of gross. You're going to have to carry a bag to carry your poop out of the park. That's right. If you poop in a national park and there's not a bathroom, you have to put it into a bag and take it back with you because your poop does not belong in a national park and it may mess up the animals a little bit. So here we go. Your task today, students, is to design a backpack, make it unique. You want it to stand out and have better features than all the rest. Now, remember, your backpack must work and it must be cool, because if you go to a backpack store or a Target or a Walmart, there's lots of different types of backpacks on the wall and you want yours to stand out. You're going to begin your first stage by doing a sketch of it. Next, you're going to create a pattern, including all your measurements, and then you are going to build your prototype. Now, I don't expect any of you to get it done today. I mean, that would be silly. We need to take our time with this to make sure that we have our ideas thought out before we begin. One last thing, think, sketch, and then design. All right, so I am now ready to show you some things that I have. Here we go. I'm going to start with some graph paper, but you can start with regular paper if you want to. I also have a measuring device here. So I have a ruler. You might have a measuring tape. We also know that paper is usually 8.5 by 11 inches. So if you want to turn your paper to use it as a measuring tape, we want you to have a pencil or a pen, something to start drawing with. And we want you to go ahead and start designing your backpack right now. Teachers, if some of your students would like to share their ideas or if they have a question, we're going to ask that they raise their hand on the Zoom. There is a reaction button at the bottom of the screen that has a raised hand icon. When you want to share or you want to ask a question, you're going to raise your hand. And my great hosts are going to call on you and they're going to ask you to unmute so you can share your designs. So I'm excited to see what you're going to create or make. So who's ready to ask a question or to talk about their design? We are ready to listen. Oh, I see a hand up already, Miss Heather.
All right, Tildy, what is your question or what do you have to say?
Like for certain people who like certain things, for certain people who like certain things, You can make a certain backpack, like certain animals or anything like that.
Yeah, so you're designing your backpack to meet the needs of whoever's using it. And I love that you thought about maybe an animal would want their own backpack. Boy, I think you're probably thinking about the next big thing, and that could make you some money. Thank you, Tildy, for sharing that. Who else?
You're welcome.
Is it Regan or Regan? I see your hand up in your classroom, so I'll go ahead and call on you.
Are you allowed to draw like a picture on your backpack?
I think that is an amazing idea. You know how some companies have logos, like Nike has the little swoosh? Think about something that you could draw that no one else can. And that could be your brand or your marketing strategy. What are you thinking about using as your picture?
The first letter of my name.
Perfect. And that sort of gives you a head up or a step forward from other people, because if they see that, is it R? Is that the first letter?
Yes.
Yeah, so they will recognize that and try to buy that. So good job with branding. Who else?
Windsor had his hands up next.
Maybe you could turn your backpack to a sleeping bag.
What a great idea. There are many national parks out there where you can go off the trail. You have to register with the park rangers, but you can go off the trail for hiking, and there's no hotels, there's no cabins. You just have to, when you're ready to sleep, you have to lay down. So if your backpack converts into a sleeping bag, you've saved yourself some weight having to carry that. So I love that idea. Good job.
Axel Ramirez.
What if you like go out all out for the drawing, but then like the actual designing you don't do the same?
Can you ask that question one more time, and I'm gonna turn my microphone up?
Oh, so you said that like we would like get to start making the backpack, right?
Right?
So like what if we go like all out for the drawing, but then like not do the same, but like the same idea, just not without that much features?
I think that is a great question that we should tell everybody. Other people were probably thinking about that question. Designs do not always have to be the same thing when you finish the build. Designs change all the time. So you may have this amazing design because you're very artistic, but it may not look exactly like that in your design. That's when you are the designer, and then you'll give your sketch to a materials engineer and a seamstress who will then put that all together. So the answer is you make the best drawing you can, and you may find a buddy who can then turn that drawing into the actual backpack. Great entrepreneurial question.
Elijah.
Can we make an idea that has like a built-in compass or like a screen attached to it? So if you get lost, you can find your way back.
I love that. Boy, that's going to require some technology. So that makes me think that you're probably good with technology. I think that would be a great idea. And for what I've researched, I don't think there's anything out there like that. So that could be the next big thing.
Marley, I see your hand up.
What if we can make our backpack into a tent?
I think that would be an amazing idea. A lot of times in national parks, the weather will start out being one way, and by nighttime, it can drop 40 to 50 degrees. So think about if you've been hiking all day and it was short sleeve weather, but then when you get ready to sleep at night, it's 20 degrees. Having your backpack transform into a tent will keep you safe from the elements. It will keep you warm. It might even keep some critters from crawling on top of you. So I like that idea.
Mila or Mila? I'm sorry, I don't know how to say it.
Are you allowed to put a keychain on your backpack?
I would definitely like a keychain on my backpack because I lose things all the time. You can ask my husband. I will have a pair of Beats or some type of flashlight, and I can never find it. If there was a keychain on there, I could hook that on there. And here's the cool thing, Mila. Any idea you have is allowed. Like, there are no constraints for this. Your only thing that we're asking you to do is design a backpack for the national parks. Any idea you have in your head, I'd like to see you try it.
Sawyer?
Can you make like a suitcase backpack, or like with
Yeah.
the ones with the wheels?
I think having one with wheels is important, especially if you are traveling through an airport to get to the national park. I want you to think very carefully about what national park you would like to travel to. Some national parks, there are no paths. So you'd have to design the wheels almost like a four-wheeler, where they have some ridges on them so they can go over rocks. Other places like Acadia National Park, there are roadways and trailways so you could actually pull that backpack. So I think your design will depend on which national park you choose. Great question though.
Windsor?
Maybe you could make your backpack like it can have like an engine, and you can what if like a little kitty could ride in a backpack when he gets tired of like carrying a backpack?
I think that is a fun idea. So if you're going to talk about engines, you need to do a little bit of research on electricity and magnetism, and maybe some research on simple machines like wheels and axles and pulleys and levers. I don't know that I've ever seen a backpack that works on an engine. So that would be an interesting idea to explore.
Like a four-wheeler.
Oh, nice. And maybe you could even jump on it and it take you places when you get tired. Who knows? That sounds like a great idea.
Ellie, do you have a question? Go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Can you put like a little hanger water bottle on your backpack?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a very important thing for all backpacks, no matter what national park you're working at. You want to make sure that you have enough water to get you from one place to another, especially if you're in a place like Joshua Tree National Park, which is in California. You can hike for miles there, or Death Valley, and there are no places to get water. And the temperature at Death Valley can get to 131 degrees Fahrenheit. So having enough water is going to be important. So yes, please add that water bottle pocket.
And I think we might have everyone that asked or shared at least one thing. I see some people that already shared with their hand up again. Mila?
Could you make your backpack turn into a suitcase?
I think that's a great idea. Think about a backpack is just a device that carries things. Well, that's what a suitcase does also. So I think making it specifically to become a suitcase could be the next big thing. Let's take about two more, Miss Heather.
All right, Tommy, you're next.
Um,
Go ahead, Tommy.
would it be okay to like have something you could hook things onto?
Yes, so you could create some rings that you could put on there, and then you could make some carabiners, which are some metal pieces that clip onto the rings. And there are a lot of different sizes of carabiners. There are carabiners that could hold a water bottle. There might be carabiners that could hold a little lantern like this that you would use when you're outside at night. So yeah, having those attachments on there are going to be very important.
Marley?
Can you make a backpack that has like little circles so you can connect a hook so you don't have to keep like adding your keychain to another one?
I think that's a great idea. And what I've noticed through our conversations today, it seems like a lot of you may be in the same classroom, which if that is true, all these ideas that you're hearing from your classmates could be things that you could use in your design also. But here's how you're going to do that nicely. You may hear someone sitting beside you come up with an idea. Don't just take it from them. Don't steal it. You can't do that. That doesn't work in the manufacturing world. But turn and have a conversation and say, can you tell me why you're using that particular piece? Because I have an idea for that too. So your design could turn into a partnership. There is a name of a backpack called Jan Sport. It's a very popular backpack. And I bet some of you probably have some of those types of backpacks in your classroom right now. Well, the reason it's called Jan Sport, the guy who created it, his name was Murray, but he didn't know how to sew. He knew what he wanted. So remember earlier, one of the kids said they could draw it really well, but they may not be able to make it. Well, Murray could draw it very well, but he didn't know anything about sewing or fabric. So he was dating this girl named Jan, and Jan had a sewing machine at home. And he said, hey, can you help me create this backpack? And if we ever get married, I'll name it after you. Well, guess what? They got married, their ideas came together, and now JanSport is one of the most popular backpacks around. There are so many ideas out there today, and we probably could go for another hour talking about them. But I want to go ahead and move through the rest of this presentation, and then I'm going to show you where you're going to share all of your ideas. So everything that you create, everything that you do in class, every time your teacher says, let's learn this, that's an opportunity for you to grow and to be very smart and to think about what you're going to do when you finish school. So I'm just really proud of all of you, and I can't wait to see your final products. But if you want to keep working with backpacks after you graduate from school, here is some of the money that you can make. So if you want to work in informational technology or IT, which means working with computers and designs, you can make $146,000 a year. Guys, that is a lot of Skittles and shoes and skateboards. If you want to be the person that hires everybody to work in your company, you can make $116,000. That's called a human resource manager. Maybe you're just the person who wants to boss everybody around in a very nice way. Operations manager can make $100,000. If you want to be the person who chooses the colors and the thread and the materials, mechanical engineer. Or if you want a backpack, or if you want to be the person that sews this together. These are just a few of the jobs you can have if you're good at what we're doing today. Margaret Mead is a famous anthropologist, which means she studies people. And she said this, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And there are 48 plus of you on this phone call today. And I think that you all have an opportunity to change the world. As you can see here, these are some students that are changing the world all around the country by solving other global goals. My goal today is to add your picture to this screen. These are hundreds and hundreds of kids around the country who are solving problems and becoming entrepreneurs. Teachers, I want to thank you today for answering the email and deciding to include your students in on the defined learning performance task. There are 1,200 plus of these online. So it's not just the backpack designer. There are things that you can do in your classroom for everything that you teach. So if you want to learn more, there are some websites here. But teachers, this is the most important one for you right now. So I'm going to ask that Paige and Heather, one of them, drop this into the chat window. It's bit.ly/backpack design. And notice that the backpack design has capital letters B, P, and D. This is where we're going to ask you to upload any pictures, designs, videos of what your kids are doing so that they can share that with you, and you can share that with me, and I'll share that with Defined Learning. But other than that, I'm going to put it out on social media. Like I'm going to share it with LL Bean and Patagonia and Osprey and all of these, and yes, JanSport, all of these backpack companies, and they may be calling you kids. They may be calling you saying, hey, Mila, I really like your design. Or Windsor, I think what you did was amazing and we want to talk with you. You could start selling your designs while you're still in school. Sounds like a good idea to me. How many of you, by raising your hand, are excited now to start building something, designing something? I hope so, because you're also using all types of skills. You're using your reading skills, you're using your math skills, you're using science as you think about physical motion, and then you're also using science as you learn more about the national parks. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to ask, I know that you have on your mask, and I want you to keep those on, but I want you to smile real big in the picture so I can take a little picture of you and make sure that I have it. So when you're sending me your ideas, I can match the face from the nose up to the product. So everybody's smiling. You look beautiful. I'm taking a couple of screenshots. Thanks so much for joining us today, from Heather and Paige and everybody that works at Defined Learning, and also this crazy guy behind the camera who kind of works with me sometimes too. We thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you at our next on-demand STEM Defined Learning. Thanks so much, kids, and have a great day.